Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create input grids in the designer. We're first going to drag and drop a grid input from the left-hand menu to the desired location on our page. Once in place, we can click the module to change its configurations. When the module is selected, you will see dashed lines around it, and this will bring the contextual menu on the right. Here, we must first select the named range this input will be associated with from the table named range selection. If your named range has column names included, select Yes for the Has Header option so that the system can recognize the grid has headers. Please note that the grid input will only accept a table named range involving multiple cells. Selecting Yes under the responsive option will make this a responsive table. This means that the grid will adjust to the screen and web browsers of the users accessing this web application. If you select No, you will get a static grid. We suggest using the responsive option only if you know that your grid will fit all visual breakpoints. Otherwise, the drop-down columns will not be editable. The system will automatically detect the number of rows and columns as well as the column headers, if there are any. This information can be found under the table named range column selection. If everything looks right, press the Confirm button to proceed with this table. We can always go back and edit any of the columns by pressing these blue buttons. Pressing Edit will bring the input grid options where we can further customize the table elements. Here we can manually change some of these settings. First thing we can change here is the column name. The tooltip text will be displayed when you mouse over this column. This can be useful to tell your users what they should put here. We can also activate table controls such as sorting and search. Changing any of these settings will add those properties to this column. The data entered into this column will be free-form text by default. We can change the data input format from the mask type selection. Is editable option determines whether this column will be disabled. Press the Submit button to save changes to this column. This will then bring us back to the input grid options. We must press the Regenerate Columns button if any changes were made to any of these columns. This action will update the table UI. When Trigger Calculations option is enabled, this input will trigger calculations in the entire worksheet. You can leave this enabled in most cases. If you are using a rather complicated spreadsheet and have a lot of calculations, it might be a good idea to disable this option and add a Calculate button instead. Remember to press the Submit button to save your changes to this input. We can set different types of input properties during column configuration. Grid elements can have calendar date pickers, drop-down list selections, checkboxes, and formula fields that allow no inputs. A date picker can be added simply by selecting Date from the mask type. To create a drop-down menu, we first need to select List for the mask type and then select the named range containing the list options. Checkboxes require nothing extra and can be built by choosing Boolean option for mask type. An output field, such as those containing a formula, can be disabled by selecting from Is Editable.